From the creators of the Next 15 podcast show, it's Words vs. Words with Friends podcast, featuring Joeleen Santiago and Shemeka Montgomery. This is a fun, innovative, interactive podcast filled with stimulating discussions and healthy debates using words and phrases that we use every day. Now, let's get to the podcast.
Hi, welcome to Words vs. Words with Friends podcast. This is a fun, interactive podcast where we challenge your mind and perspective using everyday words and phrases. I'm your host, Joeleen Santiago, and I have my co-host here, Shemeka Montgomery.
Hey y'all, thank you so much for tuning in tonight here on Words vs. Words with Friends. We invite you to give us some feedback. If you are watching on YouTube, Facebook, if you are listening in on Spreaker, give us some comments, give us some feedback on tonight's topic. Words vs. Words with Friends is a podcast created to bring back the real art of conversation. We want to create dialogue and also help you think outside the box. We also ask that you would like, share, and follow us. So Joeleen, tonight is another awesome episode. So tonight's topic is omission. Is it the same as lying? We are going to take a look at those definitions real quick. So omission, something neglected or left undone. We also have the action of excluding or leaving someone or something. Okay, so Joeleen, I love this topic because I feel like with omission, it's something that we probably do every day. I do think that omission is the same as lying. What are your thoughts?
It's not the same as lying. Definitely not. Definitely not.
But why not though?
Okay, so let's just use an example. So, sometimes, we omit information, sometimes because maybe we're avoiding a reaction or maybe an action of the other person. So maybe just leaving some information out, not lying. You're still giving the same information, but you're just leaving it out. That's not the same as lying to me.
Mm-hmm. So Monica, thank you so much for tuning in tonight, giving us a comment. She says omission is not lying, it's deception. Wow. So she threw out another word. So I think that omission is lying because you are leaving out information. You are lying by omission. Can we get that slide? So lying by omission has the definition of you are lying. So lying by omission is when a person leaves out important information or fails to correct a pre-existing misconception in order to hide the truth from others. So with that description, Joe, is lying. You're lying by omission, which is you're lying. You're leaving information out.
Let me use this example because I think this example is going to pretty much shut you down tonight. So my example is, so let's say your man gets done work. Okay, he gives you a call, he's on his way home, and so, maybe like he's 20 minutes later than usual, and so, he gets there and he's like, hey, you're like, well, what happened? You're 20 minutes late, what's going on? Oh, I had to stop at the ATM. And you're like, oh, okay. And so the next day you find on the dresser, you find a receipt that says dollhouse. And let's say you don't have a daughter and you don't have any dolls at home. So what's this dollhouse? But on the receipt, it does say he went to the ATM, but at the dollhouse. So he didn't tell you everything, but he did tell you he was going to the ATM. So is he lying?
He is lying because he is lying because he's leaving out information. So basically what he's doing is don't ask, don't tell. So if you don't ask, I ain't telling.
Yeah, but he's not lying. But he told you. But you didn't ask him, hey, did you stop anywhere? You didn't. So he didn't lie to you. It was the ATM. He stopped at the ATM.
But he is lying because he left. That's the definition of omission. You're leaving out information. You're being deceptive, like Monica said. You're leaving out information. You are waiting for me to just assume, making assumptions. Yeah, you're leaving out information. So I think that he's lying.
Okay, well, let's look at it at a different way. Let's look at a different scenario. So let's say okay, hey, Shemeka, you're about to turn 50. Okay. And I'm like, hey, Shemeka, I'm going to come over your house. I just want to chill, but first I'm going to go ahead and stop at the store. So, I mean, I'm just going to go to just the regular store, and I'll just be like, but 45 minutes later, you're like, I thought you said you were coming over. Oh, yeah, I was stopping at the store. But what I didn't tell you was that I also stopped at the party store because I was picking up some party supplies because I'm going to celebrate your birthday. But I don't want you to know that. I'm omitting information because it's a surprise. And if it's a surprise, then why would I want you to know that? I'm not being deceptive. I did stop by the store, but I didn't tell you exactly what I got at the store or what I was doing or even what it was for. So I omitted information, but I mean, tell me, how did I lie?
Well, okay, so let me get to that in just a second. So Monica, thank you for a comment. She says, so if you're trying to surprise someone and you omit details about the event, is that lying? So just
that's what
like
I'm trying to
say,
say, Monica.
So actually it is. Even though it's very thoughtful, you're giving somebody a party, that's awesome. So what you would call that would be a white lie. So could we get that slide? So a white lie is a harmless or trivial lie, especially one told to avoid hurting someone's feelings. So I think that was just a white lie. You did want to surprise a person. I think that's awesome that you would want to do that for them because I myself love surprises, but I still think that is a lie. It is not the truth. It is not everything that I asked you for. It wasn't everything that you were supposed to be doing. So it is officially a lie. Either it's a lie or it's the truth.
Oh, Monica says, so how are you supposed to be thoughtful, right? How are you supposed to do something special for somebody if you got to tell them everything? Like, you don't need to tell them everything. I don't need to tell you, Shemeka, I'm stopping by the store to get you some balloons or getting you some celebratory items to celebrate your birthday. Like, what's the point of that?
But that's not the question, though. Is it thoughtful? The question is omission. Is it the same as lying? Yes, it's the same.
No, because
a lie is a lie.
Lying is you're doing it intentionally, or you were doing it with the mindset that you're deceiving somebody purposely. You're purposely deceiving somebody. So when you're omitting information or even just information you don't want somebody to know, I mean, so like it's your anniversary. So it's your anniversary, right? And your boyfriend, wants to bring you some flowers. I mean, you expect him to tell you that he's stopping at the store to go buy some flowers.
But it's still lying, though. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter what the reason is. It doesn't matter if it's on purpose. It doesn't matter if it's thoughtful. The question is it still lying? Yes, you are lying because you're not giving all the information and all of the details. So yeah, you are omitting information, which is omission.
But how's he deceiving you? You didn't ask. Hey, are you going anywhere special? Are you stopping by anywhere? Like, I could see it if he was just like, hey, you know what? No, I'm not going anywhere, but you didn't ask. So if I don't give you the information, I mean, that's not lying.
But that goes right back to what I was saying. Some people feel like if you don't ask me, then I don't tell. If you don't ask specific questions and details, then I'm not going to tell you. I'm just going to tell you, the bare minimum and the basics. So Monica has another comment. She says, lying can never be thoughtful, but you can thoughtfully lie. Monica, that is really good. That's a really good play on words. That is very truthful. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love thoughtful gifts, surprises. But when I thought about omission and the topic, it really doesn't matter if you're trying to be deceitful or not, because the thing is, you might not be trying to be deceitful, but omission, it is still leaving out information and it's in the definition. So I do think it is the same as lying.
So I'm going to deceitfully buy you some flowers because I want to celebrate your anniversary. Would you accept the flowers then if the person's lying?
But the question is not if I'm going to accept the flowers, because guess what? I'm going to accept them flowers, okay? Because it was very thoughtful and very sweet.
From a liar.
We got to go back to the question, though. Is omission the same as lying? And yes, it is. Regardless of the purpose or if it's thoughtful, it's still the same. So guys, get in the chat, give us some feedback. Tell us what you think omission is. Even if it's thoughtful, if it's on purpose, tell us what you think in the comments.
And who do you think is winning this debate? Let us know. Is it me, who I think omission is not the same as lying, or Shemeka, who says it is lying?
It's me, Joe. It's me. I'm winning.
Maybe you might win one this time. We'll see.
Okay,
so we'll look at the results next week.
Monica says, thank you for your comment. She says, you accept deceptive flowers.
Exactly. That's my point.
Monica, I'm sorry, but this day and age, sometimes it's hard to get flowers, period. So sometimes at this point, I don't care if they deceptive, if they truthful, if they colorful, they flowers. What? You know what I mean? You just say it like it's a nice thought. So yeah.
So lying is okay if it's beneficial to you. If it's beneficial, you're gonna get something out of it. It's okay.
That wasn't the question, though. That was not the question. Yeah, I love it that they gave me some flowers, and it might be deceptive, but it is omission. It's the same as lying. It's the same as lying. Monica is agreeing with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey,
you're gonna accept it. You're gonna accept the deceitful flowers. Okay, but what if another situation? But what if it causes harm to somebody? For example, if somebody's being abused, and they know that the person that they're with, is going to react in a certain way, would omission be okay in that situation? I mean, you're not lying. I mean, you are telling the truth. You're just telling a part of the truth, partial.
I mean, in that situation, I get it, but my thing is, Joe, is we're just going back to that question: is it the same as lying? So I think sometimes, you do have to omit certain things at times, depending on what the situation is. But I still think within its definition, it is the same as lying.
Well, I looked up the word lying. Lying is a deliberate intent to deceive. It's a false statement, especially made with the intent to deceive somebody. So when you are omitting something, it's not the same. You're not being deceptive. You're not being deceitful. I'm not trying to get something out of it. I'm not trying to deceive you or do it because I want to get something, because I want to have my way, or I'm trying to manipulate you or trying to do something like that.
But I still think it's a lie, though, because if you're lying by omission, you have a failure to correct pre-existing misconceptions. Okay, and I think a lot of times, hey Bree, so Bree's Bonnet has a comment. She says you can't tell everything to everybody. Bree, thank you for your comment. You are right. You can't. But I just want to go back to that question: is it the same as lying? So we're not really going to talk about the intent. If it was on purpose, we just gonna go back to the question: is it the same as lying? And omission with this definition is the same as lying. So Monica says, could we bring those definitions back up for a second? So omission: something neglected or left undone. Okay. And the action of excluding or leaving someone or something out. You're leaving something out. You're leaving out a detail. So it's the same as lying.
But I don't see the word lying in the definition at all. I don't see that lying didn't come up in the definition.
But it doesn't matter, though. We're asking, is it the same as lying? So it don't have to come up in the definition. It's the same as lying.
It would somehow.
No,
it would somehow come up.
No, it would not. So Monica says sometimes we omit information, but it's not intentional at times.
That
is true. That is true. I think sometimes it's not intentional. And we do, like Monica says, we have to talk about the intent. We do have to talk about the intent, but just going by definition.
But excluding. So if you're excluding something, like how is that lying? If you're excluding something, how is that lying?
Because you're not giving all the information. Just like, okay, let's do another example. So let's just say you ask your boyfriend, hey honey, how I look in these jeans. You know what I mean? Like how does this look on me? Does this look good? What if he excludes the fact that like you do not look good in pink? You know what I mean? You got on this big hot pink dress. He excludes the fact that it makes you look like a bottle of Pepto-Bismol. You know what I'm saying? Like he is excluding something that's important because you don't want to go out the house looking crazy. So yeah, he's lying. He's not being truthful. If she says, "Honey, does this look good on me?" He's omitting the truth. He's saying, "Oh, okay, well that don't look too bad." You know, he's lying. He's omitting information. So he's lying.
Hey guys, what do you think? We're going to hold that thought, Shemeka, and we're going to go to a commercial. We want you guys to go ahead and comment on that. What do you think if somebody is telling you how you look and they're not telling you completely word for word, or they're leaving out information or whatever? Is that lying? So I want you guys to comment. Go ahead and during the commercial, and we'll be right back on Words versus Words with Friends.
Which one is better to have? Is it intuition? Is it discernment? Or is it insight? Which one is
discernment? Because one is from God. You know what I'm saying? So the discernment comes after the transformation of our mind. You know what I'm saying? The word of God says, I love using the word, but the word of God says, be ye transformed by the renewing of our mind. Mm-hmm.
And you know what, Jen? Not everybody has discernment. Not everybody is saved. Not everybody is a Christian. And one thing that I found though with discernment is that it's brought on more in your spiritual walk when you're more mature.
Because feelings are fickle. And the things that you're picking on, those vibes could be incorrect. But guess what? So could your discernment. And so could your insight. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying.
Discernment is wrong when you don't know between right and wrong, and you can't judge between evil and good. Then your discernment is wrong, because then that means you have no discernment.
Come on now, preach.
I just don't agree with that, because that discernment, even though we do know that he gives us discernment, is still something that is developed. Like going back to what you said earlier,
it's a celebrity who use intuition.
Oh, I know where you're going.
That's a celebrity who use intuition. I ain't gonna say no names or nothing, but he was.
Hi, welcome back to Words versus Words with Friends podcast. Hey, that was a clip of last week's episode. Which is better to have? Insight, intuition, or discernment? And we have the results of that poll. 50% of you guys agreed with me and said it was insight. 50% of you guys said it was discernment. You agreed with Jen. And I'm sorry, Shemeka, but nobody picked intuition.
That's okay.
And you can listen to the full episode on Facebook at WVWWF and also on any podcast that you listen to. So we have a poll for tonight that will be available right after the show. Omission, is it the same as lying? You can vote after the show, and we're going to have those results next week. You can vote on Facebook at WVWWF, or even our personal pages at Joeleen Vasquez or Shemeka Montgomery, or even the Next 15 podcast show with Trey North. I'm so excited to see what those results are going to be next week. So let's get back, Shemeka, talking about what you were just saying about the, omission. Is it the same as lying? If we have an outfit, if we wear a certain outfit, and somebody is not very truthful or doesn't tell us the whole truth as to how we look in that outfit. So go ahead. I know I kind of we went to commercial break, but I want to give you opportunity to finish your thoughts.
Yeah, so I do. I think that it's omitting information, and so it is lying to me. I do. I think so.
And Monica has another Monica, we thank you tonight. Boy, you are hot tonight. You are just throwing it at us tonight. So if I say you looking, am I lying or omitting the truth? So the way that I look at it is that there's a certain way that you can tell somebody that they look a certain way without being so exact or upfront. And sometimes we don't always tell people how we're thinking because we want to protect their feelings. And I think protecting a person's feelings, I think that's okay, because you want to come off in a way that's not going to be hurtful. You know what I mean? So maybe they're just kind of okay, well, instead of saying, hey, you look like you put on a few pounds there, instead of just saying that, hey, you know what, you look really nice in that red dress. What happened to that red dress that you had, And so in a way you're saying, hey, look, I like the other one better, without really crushing somebody's feelings and saying, hey, look, you look like you put on some pounds there.
Mm-hmm. But that's the thing, though. That's the different definition of a white lie. It's because you are trying to protect someone's feelings. And I think sometimes we have to look at the reasons that we use omission. I think sometimes we use omission because we are trying to protect someone. I think that's one of the reasons. I also think that we make assumptions that we are going to be judged if we tell someone something. So an example, let's say me and you are trying to lose weight.
I'm sorry, Shemeka. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. Can we get this comment real quick before you get pretty deep there? Sure. Okay, so Bree says, as far as the fashion opinion goes, if a person cares about you, they will give you their honest opinion in love. Don't have me going out looking crazy. I agree. But at the same time, and Monica says, you can't protect someone's feeling by lying, but there's a different way to say it. You're not lying. It's just a different way. You're coming off a different way. So it's not lying. I mean, you're not just, there's certain words that you say and there's certain words that you don't say. And I'm not going to say words. I'm going to honor somebody's feelings. Like Shemeka, I'm going to honor your feelings because I'm not just going to come off and tell you exactly what's in my mind at the time, because people could be cruel. They could be mean. They could be very ugly, and unfortunately, people do hurt themselves because of what they hear other people saying, because then they feel bullied or attacked. So there's a certain way that you can come off or come across.
And I agree with that, Joe. It's just that I think sometimes we use omission so much that it can be harmful. Let's just say that me and you, there's something that happened, months ago, and I upset you or offended you. And you go a whole year without saying something to me. You omitted how you felt. And so for that whole time, I didn't even know that there was an issue or a problem. And so when it's brought up, I'm caught off guard. So that omission, it was harmful to me because now I'm just in shock. Like, okay, what happened? Why did you not feel that you could be honest enough with me and just tell me what it is that you were feeling? So I think a lot of times we use omission every single day in different circumstances. I do.
I wonder, I had another thought too. Oh, look, I wonder if omission is a crime in a court of law. Wow. Well, they say, to tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, So I get that in the court of law. I get that. But omission, like why are we not giving people certain information? I think too, it might not be important. What's important to you may not be important to me. I may be a type of person who's not a very detailed person. So I omit information automatically, not because I'm lying, but that's just who I am. I'm just not a detailed person. That doesn't make me a liar.
And I do, Joe, I agree with that because I have that as one of my points too. Sometimes it's about the person's perspective. Sometimes they feel like they didn't need to tell you. So we're going to use, Monica says it's not a crime. We're going to use another example, okay? Let's say you're in a relationship with someone. Okay, we're going to call him Bob. So in that relationship, you and Bob had issues because he want to go see Bonquica all the time, okay? So you ask Bob, okay, where did you go today? Oh, I went over to get my hair cut. I went to H-E-B to get some groceries. I went by my mama's house. He forgot to tell you that he went by Bonquica's house. Okay. So my thing is, y'all have a problem in your relationship with trust and honesty. He is omitting. Why is he omitting? He knows it's going to be an issue. He knows it's going to be a problem. So yeah, I think in relationships, a lot of times that omission, it can be an issue. But back to your point, some people don't see that perspective because they feel like it might not be important. Maybe he didn't want to tell you something because he didn't think it was important, but you did. So it does go back to perspective as well, depending on if the person thinks it's an important detail or not.
Well, you know what? If Bonquica keeps coming up and that's a repetitive conversation, then I would be right out the door.
I agree.
I'll be gone.
Monica says, well, my intuition would tell me that Bob omitting the truth, LOL. Absolutely. And Monica, I see she used intuition, which was my word last week on the episode. You can go back and check out the episode from last week. She used my word. But yeah, I do. I think there's a lot of reasons that we do use omission every day. Another example I want to use, let's say me and you, we are on a diet. We're trying to lose weight. And you ask me, Shemeka, what all did you eat today? Okay, so I'm like, girl, I had a salad, you know what I'm saying? I had me a protein shake, but I left out the fact that I went to Sonic and had a number 2 with a coney and a Route 44 strawberry limeade, you know what I'm saying? I left out that. Why did I leave that out? I didn't want you to judge me. I had a fear of judgment. I think that's another reason why we use omission, is because we are afraid what the other person is gonna say. We are assuming, which we should not assume. You should never assume anything. So
but that's like
that's another reason.
You're just intentionally lying. So why even throw omission in there? You just flat out lied. You know?
But that's not a lie, though. You know, because you left out information. You left out the fact that you went by Sonic and got that. So that is omission.
That's an intentional.
But it's still, but that's not the question, though. Omission, is it the same as lying? So yeah, it is.
But you're saying all the time. All the time?
I can't say it's all the
time. Lying
is
lying. Okay.
Lying is lying. Okay. But by definition, omission, you're leaving out information. That's doesn't the same as lying.
It's not doesn't always mean it's a lie.
It does. It does. Yes, it does.
No. No, like for example, hey, let's see. I mistakenly forgot to give an invite to somebody, right? So we can do it out of negligence, not even realizing that we just did it out of negligence. You know, I omitted to inviting a person to the party. Did I intentionally do that? Like, did I leave them out and they come and ask me, well, why wasn't I invited? Why didn't I get an invite? And I would just be like, oh, well, I'm sorry. I really just did not mean to leave you out. And so do you think in their eyes, do they see that as lying? Or did I really just forget? You know, sometimes we say, you know what, don't charge it to my head and not my heart.
That's true. But I think it goes back to perspective too, because some people are going to look at that situation and think that, okay, you probably just forgot and omitted it on accident. There was a lot of people on the list. Some people are going to look at it like that. Some people, depending on maybe the background or the history that you have, they may look at it as, yeah, you just didn't want to invite me because we had beef a long time ago or whatever. So I think it goes back to perspective on that as well.
Yeah, it does. The way, yeah, definitely. That's so true. But you know, I still think it's not in every situation, because either it's lying or not lying, and I just don't think that it is. I think people just don't do it intentionally. You know. So Bree had a comment up there. I thought I agreed. Monica agreed. Lying is lying. Yeah, but omission isn't always lying. So yeah, we could see that lying is lying. We get that, but omission isn't always lying. Did you have anything else, Shemeka?
That's all I have, I
think.
Any
other scenarios?
I don't think I have any more tonight. How about you?
Did you have any last comments, last thoughts?
Last comment. So I think that omission isn't the same as lying. Me and Joe, we are going to have different perspectives. Sometimes we want to look at the other side. So with omission, you are leaving out information. And back to Joe's point, it's not always intentional. It's not always done on purpose. If you're trying to surprise someone for their birthday, that's not intentional. That's very sweet and thoughtful. So me and Joe do have different perspectives on things, but we always want to help you think outside the box. So I do appreciate everyone for tuning in tonight, joining us tonight. You can follow me on Mika Lives on Instagram. You can also follow me on Facebook, Shemeka Montgomery.
And you can follow me, Joeleen Vasquez. It's the same for Facebook and Instagram. And I also want to say thank you, Bree, for joining us. She has a business, Bree's Bonnet, so you can check Bree out. She's on Instagram. Shemeka, do you know a little bit more as to where because I know you follow her.
Yes, she is on Instagram, Breeze Bonnets. She has some awesome bonnets. She puts up pictures, and you can reach out to her through Instagram, to my knowledge.
Okay, thank you. For those who are faithful and join us every week, thank you, Monica, and those who are there every week. Louise joins us every week. Hey, we thank you. We appreciate all your comments and all your feedback, perspectives. You know, my perspective is not always the same as what I bring, my points that I bring, on the podcast is not. So I just want to put that out there. We want to challenge you every week. Also, don't forget to take the poll right after the episode. Vote right after the show. Omission, is it the same as lying? We're going to have those results for you next week. So you can go again on Facebook at WVWWF, and you can join us every Friday here at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can follow us at WVWWF, and also you can listen to our past episodes, and you can get what our future episodes are going to be. You can listen to all the other past episodes on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. We have different Facebook pages, Words versus Words with Friends. We have the Next 15 podcast with Trey North. And we also have the Next15podcast.com. So we have a lot of different places that you can follow us. But until then, we will see you next week on Words versus Words with Friends podcast. You've been watching Words versus Words with Friends podcast, brought to you by Next 15 Podcast Productions. If you would like to support the podcast, go to next15podcast.com and click the Buy Me Coffee tab, where we will receive your donations of any size. Thank you in advance and for watching the podcast. We will see you next week.